Okay, well, hello. Hi, everybody. I wanted to do a comparison of the Goldwing and BMW K1600 GTL and want to compare some of the items that could be important to someone deciding between these two bikes. They are very popular bikes for the long distance riding and to up riding, which is what I am looking. So after testing both of them, I want to just break down some of the comparison. I'll try to keep this video fairly short and go over some of the items. So I'm going to break this down into a few sections, and then I'm going to give points for each section and try to summarize it at the end. Which one would I choose, why, and how did I score them? So let's go through the first one. So, weight. They're both heavy bikes, and they're both not beginner's bike. I gave Goldwing 8 points for weight, and I gave BMW 4 points. So the point system works from 1 to 10, 10 being really good and then 1 being really bad. The reason why I gave Goldwing 8 is because it handles its weight extremely light, where K1600 got 4 points because it is a very heavy bike. And probably someone who wants to buy that should probably be determining factor if this bike is in a consideration after testing based on weight. The second one, it's ride, actually how smooth the ride is. And that Goldwing, I gave Goldwing 7 points. I was expecting a little bit better ride. Maybe I had high expectations, but nevertheless, 7 points for Goldwing. BMW, 9 points. This engine is absolutely unbelievably smooth. It feels super amazing, and it feels like it's got unlimited amount of power. Moving on, wind protection. I gave Goldwing 6 points for wind protection. Again, I was expecting a little bit more, and this is probably going to be to do with me being 6.2, and maybe if I was a shorter rider, it would be easier on the wind protection, but I had a lot of buffeting. K1600 got 8 points for wind protection. It was pretty good. I think it could be better, but I was pretty happy with wind protection on BMW. Okay, I would call it gadgets and comfort, like a cruise control and all these other things. I kind of put them all into one. I would say I gave 7 points to each, just because they're very customizable and you could do a lot of things. Probably, if anyone needs to be a little bit better in this section, it's a Goldwing, because it has Android and autoplay and CarPlay. So probably Goldwing could score here a little bit more, but I liked a lot of things that BMW had as well. So without going further into it too much, it's about the same to me. It's not something that tech in the bike is not really important to me that much, apart from the basics. So I'll give them the same points. Okay, ergonomics of the bike. That is a tough one for me, because Goldwing was not comfortable for me. I find it to be very tall for the bike. So I would say for the Goldwing, if you are more than 6 foot, you will have to do some adjustments, or you will have to have some compromises. On BMW, I was a lot more comfortable and a lot more feeling at ease, and I didn't feel I had to change anything. So I gave 6 points to Goldwing and 9 points to BMW. Right, the next item, it's how nimble it is. And there is a fair of a difference there. But it depends how important this is to you. For me, I would say BMW was a little bit more nimble, and I gave him 7 points, where Goldwing got 6 points. Again, I think the the BMW is much better here, but because this is not extremely important to me, I'm okay giving them 1 point difference. So it's kind of if in tech Honda lost a point here, maybe BMW lost a point, but I'll stick with that numbers for now. Okay, the next one is maintenance. Now, obviously, I don't own any of these bikes. I was just doing the test ride, but based on my research, Goldwing is extremely a better bike to own from the maintenance point of view, including the cost of ownership, resale value. So I gave a Goldwing 9 points and the BMW only 3 points. Again, I'm not going to go too much into it. If you're interested in these bikes, you probably know that BMW is hungry. BMW dealership are hungry for your money. So there is fair amount of difference in owning these bikes based on other people's experience. And probably the ownership and maintenance on the Goldwing will be much lower than on BMW. Okay, the next one, brakes. I like brakes on the both bikes. They were really good. I would say Goldwing 7 points, BMW 9 points. The BMW brakes were absolutely outstanding. They really, you want to drive fast so you can brake, because that's how smooth the brakes are, and it keeps you straight while you're braking. I think the Goldwing brakes are also extremely good, but just because I was not as comfortable, that change in G-forces while braking made me less comfortable, and brakes were not biting as good as on the BMW. All right, the next topic, it's looks of the bike, or the X factor, however you want to call it. Gave Goldwing 8, K16 9. I like the looks of bikes in general. For me, it's very hard to find an ugly bike. Both of them look great. I would be happy with looks of both of the bikes. I think I like K1600 a little bit more, just because it looks a little bit more sporty. But I certainly wouldn't calculate this in my decision which bike looks better. All right, now the last topic that I'm going to talk here, it's cost of the bikes. Now the new ones, they are about same, but I'm really more concerned about the used bikes, because I'm interested in buying a used bike, and that is really where the difference is. In my area in Canada, for the same age, let's say 5, 10, 15-year-old bike with about the same kilometers, the Goldwing is about 25% more expensive. So if you're looking for a $15,000 BMW, the same Goldwing would cost at least $20,000 or more. It wouldn't be less. So it's a significant difference, I would say. So I gave a Goldwing 5 points, because the used market, it's really strong for the Honda Goldwing and you have to pay premium for it. And K1600 I gave 7 points, just because they're a little bit cheaper. Again, if you're looking at any of these two bikes, there are cheaper bikes on the market, but in my opinion, you get better deals with BMW on the used market. And now it's up to you to decide how much of this is going to get offset by the higher maintenance. But nevertheless, you could save 5, 6, maybe even 7,000, but let's say at least $5,000 on buying used where I'm from, if you choose K1600. Okay, so now the last thing that I want to say before I want to close the video is, how do I decide which bike to buy, or how will I decide which bike to buy and which way to go? I'm not going to use any of this point system, because to me this makes no sense to score it on the point system and then decide. When I calculate it all, the Goldwing got 69 points and K1600 got 72 points, but I could have just as easy had, if I scored this a few weeks earlier, a few weeks later, it could have been the other way around. I don't think the point system really does justice on which bike it's better for you. The way this bike, the way I decide which way to go it's on a very simple thing. Goldwing was not comfortable for me. I'm 6'2", and it was just, the bike is just too small. That's the first thing. The second thing is K1600 is not heavy for me. It is heavy, it's not a light bike, but I'm pretty sure I can get used to it, and it was not a deal breaker. Now, therefore, if I buy any of these two bikes, it will be most likely K1600, not Goldwing. The other thing what I want to mention is, when would I buy a Goldwing? In what scenarios I would buy Goldwing? For me, I would buy Goldwing if I need to buy this style of bike on the budget. Then I would look at a very, very well maintained, you know, $150,000, 150,000 kilometers, 20-year-old Goldwing, because they go really cheap, and I know they will last, and I know my maintenance will be really, really low considering everything else, and that would let me, you know, have a bike that I want at the right price. If I'm looking at a, you know, 6 to 10-year-old bike, then I believe that BMW, it's probably a better deal in buying it used, and this is probably going to get offset by maintenance, higher maintenance. So in the end, we'll probably end up at the same cost. But the biggest point for me is I just want a bike that makes sense ergonomically for me and that I feel more comfortable in. So that's really the breaking point for me. So finally, my suggestion for anyone trying to buy any of these large bikes, and it's not a secret, kind of everyone tells you everywhere you ask or look or research, it's you have to test ride both of them. I was sure I will want Goldwing more than a BMW. I have Japanese cars, I have currently Japanese bike, I like the idea of buying and not overpaying. I am generally very much a Goldwing mentality person until I sat on both, until I start to ride them. BMW was extremely, and I was very prejudiced against BMW. I thought they were not great bike, they're overpriced, they're not really what I'm looking for. And it all went away when I sat on one. And that's the bottom line. If I didn't sit on a BMW, I would not be interested in buying one whatsoever. And that's really the bottom line. So if you're gonna take anything away from this video, it's test before you ride, enjoy the rides that you get, and thank you for sticking with me by the end of the video. Have a nice rest of the day.